I've been hugging a few of you, and you have cold ears and cold hands, but warm hearts, right? We welcome you to one of the first, if not the first, natural remedies class ever offered in this church. And I'm excited about it because it's the first one I've actually been personally involved with as well. Even though I've used these natural remedies for years, this is my first time to help you learn how to do it. So we're really excited to be sharing this time together this evening. And I'm not the star of the show. There's 3 people here this evening that will introduce themselves to you in a little bit, who have had lots and lots of training from the school that they all graduated from, and they'll tell you a little bit about that in a few minutes. But right now we're going to start with a prayer asking the Lord to bless our time together. So Raluca, thank you.
Thank you. Let's close our eyes and fold our hands. Father in heaven, we are so grateful for this opportunity to learn. We're so grateful for this opportunity to allow you to show us how to use simple remedies to boost our immune system and to, in some cases, cure some diseases. And so we pray that your Holy Spirit, your presence, your angels will be here with us tonight. We thank you for Christian and Glennie and Dina that are here with us tonight, and we pray for a special blessing as we speak and as we share. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, good afternoon or good evening. It's a joy to be here with you this evening, and my name is Christian Paul. I was born in Glendale, California, but grew up in South America, and I have here with me.
My name is Glennie. I'm sure most of you know me. And I'm doing my internship here, so yeah.
And something that we all have in common with Luca and Glennie, we were able to train in this just fascinating small school, small college called Heartland College. And we both did our bachelor's, Glennie and myself, in health ministry, where we learned how to use hydrotherapy, natural treatments, nutrition, and other ways to assist the body in recovering health. And we had a lifestyle center where people would come for 10 days to receive training in how to improve their health, and we work with doctors, professional people in assisting these people, and it was fascinating. People would come with diabetes, cancer, with different diseases. It wasn't the just time lapse of 5-10 days that we would see their blood levels of blood sugars, high blood pressure decrease, and just changes in a very short time. So with Glennie, we're convinced about the effectiveness of lifestyle medicine plus some other natural things that can assist our body in recovering health.
So the question we have today is, what is disease? Does anyone know the answer to this? Anyone familiar with this term? Disease. I liked Kathy's definition. Dis-ease, when you're not at ease, the opposite of health, disease. So the Merriam-Webster dictionary has this definition which says, disease is an illness that affects a person, a condition that prevents the body or mind from working normally. But what is the meaning of health? What does it mean to be in good health? Nothing hurts. That's a really practical one. To be young again. Mentally. That is really amazing, because the Merriam-Webster dictionary also says that health is a condition of being sound in body, mind, or spirit.
And there's another quote that I would like to share with you from a health educator of the 1800s in her book Counsels on Health, page 90, for those of you that are writing, or you might have it actually in your handout. It says, disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from what? A violation of what? Of the laws of health. In case of sickness, it gives us 3 steps before using any natural remedy. Because some people say, oh, natural remedy, let's shortcut so I don't need to change my habits. Let me just give me a pill, give me something. But this quote says, in case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained. Unhealthful conditions should be changed. Wrong habits corrected. And then, after that, the nature or the body is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to reestablish right conditions in the system. Let's say the faucet was having a leak and all this was overflown with water. What would be the first thing that we do? If I tell you, let's all grab mops and everybody mop together, would that be the solution? Go and fix the problem first, right? And many times the way we've addressed disease have been, how can we get rid of the symptom? But here we are taught that first we should go to the cause, then change the unhealthy condition and change the wrong habits. Then we can apply what we're going to learn this evening. Does that sound good? So does that make sense to you? All right. So going along here.
So just a reminder, what we're going to teach you here, the natural remedies are not a substitute for what your personal care provider is teaching you or instructing you. And they cannot be used as a shortcut to neglect lifestyle changes, the things we've been learning so far. Oh yeah, it's just not there. Yeah.
Hippocrates said, let what? Be thy, and let be thy food. That is something of much wisdom that Hippocrates said, and sometimes we forget how much power and how much medicine there is in our food. And I like to say when I was working in Europe, I was able to work with health guests and go to a sanitarium, a place where we would get guests in Europe, and they would come with different health conditions. I would like to tell them, take time for your health, or your health will take your time. You choose. Take time for your health, or your health will take your time. You can choose which one you want to do. There's no other option around it, unfortunately. I've learned the hard way. So taking care of our health takes effort, takes time. But you might say, does this work, Christian? What you're going to be sharing, natural remedies, natural treatment? Is it like the grandmother thinks that it's not scientific, grandma treatment, how effective it is? Well, there's some lessons that we can learn from the Spanish flu. How many of you have heard of the Spanish flu in 1918? The 1918. You've heard of it. Okay, it was one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. Some studies say 17 million, others 50 to 100 million deaths worldwide. That would have been up to 6% of the world's population was killed through this pandemic. It affected the young people of basically between 20 and 40, so young adults, and in 24 hours they would get the symptoms, and some of them died just in 24 hours. So much more aggressive than COVID-19. And there was the best medical care. The death rate was 6.7% with the best medical care. But there were some sanitariums that were using Dr. Kellogg's methods of treating, which included hydrotherapy, which is therapy with thermal, with water. And they decreased the death rates to 1.3%. But there's even a more fascinating study of the Hutchinson City Health Officer report. There was a Seventh-day Adventist seminary where young people would go to study to become pastors, and there a doctor told them, listen, we're going to give a treatment plan. Out of our 120 students, 90 have gotten the Spanish flu. What are we going to do? And the doctor said, we're going to give you regulated diet, a healthy diet. You're going to rest even 2 to 3 days after you're symptom-free. No drugs were administered. And hydrothermal therapy, heat and cold to the chest, throat, and abdomen were applied. Guess how many developed pneumonia from the students? What percentage? None. Guess how many died? 0 with the Spanish flu. This is how effective it is in 100 years ago.
Well, but the question now is, that happened 100 years ago, but what about now? I'm sure we've progressed in our information of how we can treat diseases, but do these simple things, are they relevant for our day today?
What about now? Okay, so let's go to COVID-19. I was just today looking. Hydrotherapy in prevention and treatment of mild to moderate cases of COVID-19 in the National Institute of Health.gov. What do they say? There is a lower than average number of COVID-19 cases in the two countries, Finland and Estonia, that practice regular heat treatments, especially sauna, as compared to the average other European countries. Coronavirus, this website says, from the National Institute of Health, is sensitive or weak to heat. Heat treatments have the potential to prevent COVID-19 and to decrease the severity of mild and moderate cases of coronavirus. We propose, they say, heat treatments for this uncontrolled. From COVID-19 and to prevent it as well. Researchers showed that healthcare workers with high exposure to COVID-19 patients across 6 countries, when they were having a plant-based diet, it lowered their chance of moderate to severe COVID-19 illness. Guess by how much percent? 73% it reduced the severity and danger. So there's still practical and common things that are accessible to each of us that can help us fight disease. And I believe, my friends, that we have more strands coming again. We have more pandemics. As we look at the statistics and the news, things are not getting better in this world, but they're getting worse. And we can see also that something that happened with COVID-19, what was it? That they didn't have a vaccine at the onset, they didn't have any treatment plan, but hydrotherapy was still helping the Finnish people and the Estonians, right? That they were applying hydrotherapy. So, yes.
Hydrotherapy, how is that applied?
We're going to be looking at that throughout this presentation. So we're just giving an introduction. But Glennie, some people might say, wait, this seems too simple to be true. Shouldn't it be? I mean, people research to make a vaccine, just years to make medications, years. How can things so simple help?
It reminds me of stories from the Bible, for instance. Naaman, you remember the story where Elisha, right? Elisha told Naaman to go and dip himself in the water for 7 times. And he was expecting some amazing treatment plan. But he was like, just go to the water, something so simple. But it's a simple thing that gave healing. And I'm reminded of another story too remember when Jesus took clay and he spat into the clay and put it in the eyes of the blind man, and that's what healed him? It's amazing to see that our God works with simple things. The things we see as simple is actually so complex because he's the one who created them.
He's the actually scientist, the pharmacist, that when scientists start studying into some of turmeric, an onion, a garlic, and they find all these phytochemicals and all these things that for us is simple to buy an onion, but not the one that made it. He put some engineering into that, right? So that's what we're going to tap in today. So just to close this introduction, which healing method? Another quote by the same health promoter, Councils on Diets and Foods, this great writer from the 1800s. She says, there are many ways of practicing the healing art, but how many heaven approves? Only one way that heaven approves. God's remedies are the simple agencies of what? That will do what? Not tax or debilitate the system through their powerful properties. And then it lists some of these treatments. Pure air or remedies. What is it? Pure? And and are remedies for the want of which thousands are dying. Yet these remedies are going out of date because their skillful use requires work that the people do not appreciate. We want a quick fix, right? Fresh air, exercise, pure water, and clean, sweet premises are within the reach of how many? With how much? How expensive? Little expense. But drugs are expensive both in the outlay of means and the effect produced upon the system. So we're here not to fight against drugs, not to say that allopathic medicine is bad. We're here to encourage you to prevent and have some natural ways of assist your body before things develop in a worse condition. The Spanish flu showed that once people developed pneumonia, it was really hard, even with hydrotherapy and other things, to help people. And I had a friend who was telling me that his father-in-law was in one of these health centers where they apply all the natural remedies. He got COVID, he didn't rest, he continued working, no preconditions, young man, but didn't give rest to his body. When they discovered he had COVID-19, they tried to apply the treatments, put him in an oxygen ventilator. He died in a few days because he didn't start early enough. So it's important to start early enough to prevent needing more medications or surgical intervention. So with this introduction, we're going to head to our next presentation, Glennie, and you can tell us who is it and what's about.
So there's so many things to talk about. We can go forever and ever talking about all of these things. When we're trying to put the program together, we're trying to see what can be the quickest, most relevant things we can talk about in an hour and a half. So we're going to divide this program into 3 sections. First, we'll talk about charcoal, then we'll talk about some kitchen remedies, and finally, hydrotherapy. So first section, we're going to talk about charcoal. And Miss Dina, tell us more about it.
Yeah, if you can advance the slides for me. Good. Okay, what in the world is activated charcoal?
Check.
It has been said that if people understood what activated charcoal could do in so many areas of our need, they would call it a miracle wonder-working drug. It is amazing. Charcoal isn't just the briquettes that you use in your barbecue. It is made from coal and from wood and from peat and other substances, but then it's put under very high temperatures, and it creates a lot more little molecules on that that open up on the little buds of charcoal until an activated charcoal, just 1 teaspoon of activated charcoal would actually cover in area a whole football field. So you can imagine the absorbing power of charcoal. It can gather up all kinds of poisons and infections and get them out of your system, and I've seen it work so many times. The nice thing about it, too, is that charcoal has no expiration date. So you take it when you need it. This has been on my shelf for I'm not sure how long, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't go out of date. So that's a good thing. You can order it online. I called Whole Foods this afternoon, and they said they've got it in all of its different forms. I like to travel with the little capsules because they are a little tidier than the powder. You're going to discover that powder just blows everywhere. So I really like the capsules. The tablets are a little hard for me to swallow, and they get on my teeth, and I don't know, I've got to wash your teeth off or you don't look so nice, or on the outside of your mouth. But those are the 3 main ways that I know of that it comes. Okay, so when you open this, by the way, you're going to open the lid very carefully, especially the first time, because there's a little pressure in there and it'll poof, blow all over. So set it down carefully, loosen it, lift it slightly, and then take the lid off. I hope we don't. We have a black tablecloth up here for a reason. Okay, so Raluca, I think you told me that you can actually buy these little pads, and I've seen these. My husband showed them to me, and use them like a Band-Aid or a little small poultice, already made up for you. The other day I had a problem with a little infection on my foot. I just took a Band-Aid that was this size, made up the little paste that we're going to show you how to make in just a moment, put it on the inside of that Band-Aid, laid it over, sealed the outside edges nicely, and I could shower with it, and it was just fine for 3 days, and then I took it off, and everything was fine underneath. So anyway, I just made my own, and that was the cheapest way to do it. Okay, next slide, please. So let's look at some reasons to use it. We're going to, first of all, talk about how to make a poultice. A poultice is where you put a damp supply of that charcoal powder in a little bit of flaxseed oil or meal to keep it kind of moist, and then you spread it on a piece of gauze. I wish everybody could see what we're going to do up here. It's going to be hard. I think, Josiah, we can't really do that, right? No, I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned it sooner. So that is something that will help to draw the poison out from the skin upon which you place the poultice. It also draws away inflammation. Like I've known people who had an inflammation from a sprain even, and things were swollen. They put that poultice on there and then were able to get up and walk off the next day with no pain. Now, I need to make a little caveat right here. We are not suggesting that you go home and use any of the natural remedies we're explaining here in place of your doctor's advice. You need to follow that. But oftentimes you can use these this first level of care initially, and if it isn't working within 24 hours, then it's reasonable maybe to go see your physician. But give these things a little bit of a chance, okay? And that you'll be surprised at what happens. Okay, and then we're going to show you how to make a slurry for abdominal gas, pain, indigestion, diarrhea. I never travel without my charcoal tablets, especially overseas. You know, just changing water, even if the water is safe, it's different kinds of bacteria. You can end up with a little diarrhea. I say a little diarrhea, never hurt anybody, but when you're traveling, that's not fun. So I always carry these little capsules with me, and they've been a lifesaver more times than one. It can also be used in water filters. That's what we use at home, because I don't like what I know from science is leaching into the water from plastic bottles. So we just use a Brita. Well, I guess you could say that's plastic too. I hope it's decent plastic. But it has that charcoal water filter in it, and it will take out chlorine and some lead and other chemicals. So that's how we use it at our house. Okay, I think the next slide, is there one more? Is that it? Okay, a little caution here. Activated charcoal absorbs healthy nutrients as well. So though I have seen online that you can take like a little bit every day to even help lower cholesterol, that was new to me, and help with kidney function. My husband doesn't recommend it. He, by the way, is a physician in lifestyle medicine, and he feels like it absorbs too much of the nutrients from the food that you're eating. So it diminishes the nutrients, and if you're on a medication, it's going to tie up some of the medication's benefits. So we don't want to be taking it for long periods of time when you're on a regular medication or when you are just eating normal food. You don't want the nutrients from that food absorbed by the charcoal. Okay. By the way, I had this happen once. If you place a charcoal poultice over a cut, let's say I put this over a cut on me, you could easily end up with a little tattoo afterwards because the charcoal seeps down into that cut, and then the next thing you know, when you take it off and wash all the charcoal away, oops, there's a little charcoal tattoo on your skin. So not fun. Glennie, would you like to help me? We're going to quickly make a couple of items here. We want to show you how to make a charcoal poultice. All right. So we ended up, and maybe if I instruct you, you could go ahead and do the stirring. We have put in our cup here, we're just doing a half a recipe. I put in your handout, which is coming soon, a full recipe, which is a 1/4 cup of water and a tablespoon of charcoal and of flaxseed. Okay, so very carefully. I'm sorry, it's 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of the activated charcoal, 1 tablespoon, because we're doing half the recipe. Okay. Good. And then let's put 1 tablespoon of the ground flaxseed, or half a tablespoon. We'll just put the rest of that in there. Flaxseed. Where do you get flaxseed? Any health food store? What? Walmart has it? Good. And how do you make it so that it's useful to your body? Grind it. If you don't, it's just going to slip through like a marble. It's not going to do you much good at all. So now we've got, let's hold that up. We've got these 2 things in here together. The flaxseed meal is going to help to keep the water in the charcoal. So that's going to keep it nice and moist. So that's your reason for putting the flaxseed in there. And are we getting a little bit of a paste yet, or did we need more? We needed more flaxseed that we don't have, because we ate flaxseed for breakfast this morning, and I didn't have time to go get any more. So this is going to be more like a slurry. Okay, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a piece of gauze, just a simple piece of gauze, or you can take a paper towel and lay it out on the table. And we're going to, maybe a little more. That's a good idea. And then we're going to take our paste and just rub it right across, place it, a layer of it right here on our, on this gauze. And did we get that a little bit? Yep. Poof. It just went poof. Okay, let's move this over. A little more water now. Okay, let me grab a little more water. That flaxseed meal is so critical to getting it just the way you want it.
And while they're grabbing more water, just share a few personal experiences. When I was in South America, one morning I wake up, my parents were missionaries down there, wake up, and I had gotten beaten by a poisonous spider on my neck. The whole neck was swollen. I mean, just such a pain. And my parents have learned this, and I'll share a little later how we got into health, natural remedies, and how that saved my life, actually, as a little boy. So they said, let's put a poultice in your neck. Let's quickly get charcoal, put a poultice. They put the poultice, and there I was with the pain, and it started reducing. And they said, after a few hours, let's remove the poultice, see what happened. They removed the poultice, and there was like a little sack. The charcoal had pulled all the poison out, and it was just in a little skin sack. My dad got a needle and pinched the little sack, and all the poison came dripping out. So it has a powerful absorbing power, charcoal. I mean, we've used it also over sinus. When you have sinusitis, my family have done it through the night, put the poultice on top of your eyes when you have infection and it's like inside and it's just like painful. You go down and you feel that headache. Just put a charcoal poultice, wrap it with a scarf or some form of cloth. You want to put some towels on the pillows because there will be in the morning, probably a mess. But it just, after days of having sinusitis, people with headache that couldn't have that pain relief, they took antibiotics and still was there. The charcoal just pulled everything and loosened down, and the mucus started coming out. So it's very powerful.
I just had sinusitis. I had acute sinusitis. I almost died from it 25 years ago when I was living in New York City. I moved down here and my allergy symptoms went away. I thought I was fine. And then about 6 months ago, I started with the fungal headache. And then right under the eyes, where you feel the sinusitis. And I knew I had it. And I went to my regular physician, and he said, I don't have sinusitis. So I went to a ENT surgeon, and she said, I've got sinusitis.
There you go. Very complicated. We're going to ask you to tell your story. You wished you'd known it sooner. We're going to have to save questions and comments for the end because we have a timer ticking on us, which is really frustrating. I have 2.5 minutes left to finish up here. So what we did was we put this and then we folded the gauze over. Can you see? And it's nice and wet, and we've got a nice paste going in there. Now, I kind of don't want this on me. I don't think anybody wants this on them right now. But if I were finishing this off, Glennie, your arm, or I would place this on Glennie's arm like this. I would take a piece of saran wrap and wrap it around the arm like that. And then I would find a wrap This is the easiest stuff because and then I would wrap it all the way around like this. You can go to bed with this thing on, and it's not going to mess up. So that's all I'll show you about that. And in the 1 minute that I have left, do you understand? Yeah, it's very mild stuff. It doesn't hurt. It's just cool. It's like putting clay on your arm, and or wherever it's needed. You can go online and you can discover some great ways to use this. A bug bite. I put it on a bug bite the other day with my little Band-Aid. It worked great. Did you tell your story yet?
So I was in Europe, in Romania, taking care of my mother while I was in college, the same college as Christian and Glennie went, and somehow I stepped on a rusted nail. And so I was overseas, but thankfully I learned about charcoal before I went, and I had some with me. And they said, you have to go to the doctor. It was getting very swollen. I couldn't walk on it. It was so painful and red. And they said, if you have to go to the doctor tomorrow, you probably have to get a tetanus shot and all the doctoral advice. And I was going to do that. But I said, I'm going to put charcoal tonight. And I put it on, and the next morning when I got up, my foot was like nothing has ever happened. One night, it just extracted all that infection, whatever it was. So I was very grateful for taking charcoal with me overseas.
Amen. Don't travel without it. Thank you, Raluca. The other day I had a raging tummy ache. I had to lie on the couch. It still wasn't helping. I have no idea where it came from. I should have gone for charcoal immediately, but sometimes when you're hurting, you don't think about the most natural thing. I said, Glennie, my tummy hurts. She says, have you tried charcoal? Oh, yeah. So I went and made a slurry, 1 tablespoon of charcoal powder in a glass of water, and drank that down. Poof, it was gone, just like that. So this is really great for that. Now, if anybody wants to try this, you're welcome. It's very mild. It just tastes a little bit chalky. That's all. Would you like to? Okay, good. We'd actually like you to tell us what you think of it. You have a stomach problem. Would you like to take it to her? Yeah, there it is. Now we'll get you a napkin as well in just a minute. So I'm going to clean up this mess while we move on to the next section, but I hope you'll give charcoal a try. We're going to be bringing you a handout in just a few minutes, because they should be done by now. But I put there a website that tells you how charcoal can be used with during COVID-19. And I trust the people as 3 physicians and a moderator, actually our own Elder Finley, do that presentation. It is excellent. I think you would really enjoy watching it. So you'll get that website there. Go take a look at it. Thank you.
And just briefly, thank you, Dina, for sharing that. In our family, it's like the go-to from the home pharmacy, the charcoal. Whenever you have gases, you have indigestion, a lot of gas, you take a bit of charcoal and that absorbs and reduces the gases. Indigestion, food poisoning, I mean, that's part of the filters, what they put in the water filters to pick up some of the toxins, the Clorox, and other things from our water that we drink. So it's something that is used to purify our water. So internally or externally, it's very effective, very effective.
Yes, you have a toothpaste. Yeah, I think the toothpaste can be good, but like using just plain charcoal on your teeth can be abrasive on your enamel. So I think the toothpaste, yeah, it's pretty good. Apparently it does. Anyways. Where do you get the charcoal? You get that from, where do we get charcoal? You can get it from Amazon, you can get it from Whole Foods, you can get it from a Better Choice in Altamont, the ABC. Yeah, the Land Market. So there are so many places you can get this from. So besides charcoal, which is a home remedy, we have so many more. If you see your little handout, we have so many things which you can find so easily accessible in your house. First, I'm going to go over turmeric. Turmeric, actually, Miss Dina was showing me today the many studies that were being done on the benefits of turmeric. For instance, they have shown how it has many anti-inflammatory properties. they had seen how turmeric can help slow down the uncontrollable growth of cancer cells. They have been able to see how they did the study where they took the cells of humans outside and exposed it to chemicals that can create damage, and they saw that it really damaged the cells. But if people took just a pinch of turmeric every single day for 7 days, after that, when they took the cells of these human beings, and when they studied the DNA strands, they saw that damage was decreased by 50%, just because they took a pinch of turmeric. So just taking a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric per day can be so beneficial. And in your handout, you can see the list of things it's good for. I can go over them now, but there's just so much. But they have also noticed that if you take turmeric in an hour, the amount of curcumin, the amount of turmeric in your blood drops down really fast. But if you take a pinch, just a little bit of pepper, it increases the bioavailability or the amount of how much turmeric stays in your body, the curcumin stays in your body by 2,000%. And if you add it with tofu, it increases even more. Or soy milk, or yeah, anything with soy. So what does that mean? Maybe you can make when you make scrambled tofu, add a little bit of turmeric, if you want, maybe tiny bit of pepper. And that's just so amazing. Yes, Ms. Dina?
You can show them that there, that has the pepperine already.
Oh, really? Wow.
I got that at Costco. It already has the pepperine inside of it.
It does.
And how much did she say per day?
A quarter.
She's just
A quarter teaspoon.
does amazing things.
So should I not take a tablet a day of turmeric?
Oh, you can, yeah. Yeah. Just taking turmeric tablet rather than curcumin, which is extracted from turmeric, which is much better if you just take turmeric, even if it's in a tablet form. So that's great. Another thing we have, what is this? Garlic. Garlic is so beneficial as well. It has so many antiviral properties. It's been used by Egyptians, Babylonians, Greeks, all of those people in the past. And they were able to see how just taking garlic regularly every single day, just a clove of it, reduces your chance of getting colds by 63%. That's a huge amount, right? Another thing we have here is onions, another superfood. It's something that makes you really emotional as well when you cut into it. And it's also rich in vitamin C. So Christian, you have an experience with onion. I remember you had mentioned something.
Yes, I'll share the full story later, but at the age of 2, a doctor from Loma Linda told my dad, your boy is not doing well under antibiotics. He's not reacting well. Actually, Dr. Guthrie today was telling us about some new studies that show that antibiotics in kids can be harmful for a lot of kids and actually can produce more mucus and respiratory problems. So this doctor told my dad, listen, I'm going to give you a natural antibiotic, and you're going to make this drink out of garlic, onion, and eucalyptus leaf, and as well as honey. Those were the ingredients. And after my mom started giving it to me, every 3 hours she needed. I was so weak. I'll share the full story later. I was so weak that she needed to give every 3 hours, and that started boosting my immune system. If she would stop giving it to me, my lungs would start becoming affected, and I couldn't breathe that well. But for like a month, she had to give me daily, and then she could go 2 or 3 times a day and less. But that's what helped boost my health, together with a few other things I'll share later.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. So as you can see from the story, onion is considered to be the most powerful antibiotic and can help fight off both viral and bacterial infections. Yes, do you have?
What percentage of garlic reduce your social life?
Social. Maybe like 90%. Oh, yes. There is a garlic that has no odor. Okay. Maybe we need to look into that. That is true. I think that's a good idea. Find a mate who likes garlic.
I have a friend of mine in California, and he had his own business, medical business, doing very, very well, but then he got the call to go into ministry. So they moved from California to Berrien Springs, Michigan, to a university called Andrews. And while he was there, his wife actually shared this story with me, and I'm going to share with you. It's amazing, about onions. He said, while my husband was in an intense time of seminary, he began getting boils on the lower half of his body. At first, it looked like a pimple, but within 24 hours, it was very inflamed and infected with pus. They were very painful. He needed to be on a round of antibiotics and have the wound drained every time. On one occasion, he didn't have time to go to the doctor. The wound got so infected and a red upward streak, remember that? That's not a good sign. A red upward stream indicated that the infection was spreading. He had a fever as well. That time, he was rushed to the emergency room, given emergency IV treatment, and multiple antibiotics because that infection had the risk of traveling to his heart, right? That streak is not good. Once it would heal, and we thought we were done, a couple of weeks later, another boil was surfaced in a new location. This was emotionally and physically getting to my husband, and the antibiotics began wreaking havoc on his digestive system. One type of antibiotic even caused significant heart palpitations. Every boil needed oral antibiotic treatment, or it would fester into a larger wound with loss of drainage. The doctors had no solutions and told us it was a resistant strain of bacteria he may have acquired in the hospitals seeing wound care patients in his previous business. They told us there was no way to prevent it or to treat it. That's what they were told. Right, other than oral antibiotics. They even said it was infectious and could spread to the rest of the family. We were so discouraged and exhausted because I was washing the bedding daily so that we wouldn't get this strange, dreadful bacteria. One boil got so inflamed and infected, it created a very deep wound that took a month to heal. Then one day, a health ministry, kind of like what we're doing tonight, came to town. I attended it and learned about all the amazing benefits of the onion. Really, the onion. And sure enough, within a couple of days, her husband Mitch had a new beginning boil forming. So I said, let's get this onion treatment a try. He was a bit skeptical, and at this point would have done almost anything to be relieved from this curse. Immediately, we sliced a small piece of onion, heated it up in the microwave till the juice came out of it. Once it cooled, we wrapped it into directly on the boil and secured it with a paper towel and saran wrap. Before bedtime, we replaced it with a fresh piece of onion, so he slept with the onion on. In addition, he took 2 teaspoons of turmeric every day, zinc, and vitamin D. That next morning, when we removed the onion bandage, we were crying tears of joy to see that for the first time since the boils had started months ago, this boil had disappeared within 24 hours with the onion treatment and no antibiotics. 2 more times we treated these boils this way effectively. It was nothing short of miraculous. No more visits to the doctor and no more antibiotics after that. Mitch did a detox cleanse, and God, in his infinite mercy, delivered him from his boils and reminded us that God's pharmacy is the best pharmacy.
Isn't it amazing to know that all these things that we're talking about are so easily accessible? It's not rocket science at all, right? Right now we learned about charcoal, we've learned about onion, we've learned about garlic, turmeric, honey, like Christian was just talking about. Honey also has so many antibacterial and antiviral properties. In fact, back in, if you look at how do I describe this? Back in the days when the Egyptians were mummified, back in those days, they were using honey for burns and for wounds. And there are other studies which you can see in the handout I've given you, that honey has been applied with a cotton swab, and if you put it on top of your canker sores, it's as effective as the regular over-the-counter medication. I thought that was pretty cool. And for children over 1 year of age, honey can act as a natural and safe cough suppressant. That's actually pretty interesting as well. And the antioxidants in honey have been linked to beneficial effects on heart health, including increased blood flow into your heart and a reduced risk of blood clot formation. Just the things we find in our kitchen and we have every single day. I mean, we put this in our oatmeal, and who would think that it'd be a superfood. Another thing I'd like to talk about is ginger. Well, right here, you just see this frozen mush of ginger root over here. We were trying to save its life. Ginger also has a very long history of many ways it's been used. In case for nausea, ginger has been really helpful for nausea, for menstrual pain. I was so surprised to see how it reduced menstrual cramps, and it was as effective as painkillers. And I'd like to try that as well. And daily consumption of raw and heat-treated ginger can result in large reductions of muscle pain. I thought that was pretty interesting. And lastly, aloe vera, you can see that at the back. Oh, over here, whoa, everywhere. Aloe vera, it's pretty easy to grow that. And it's so expensive in Publix, apparently, about 5, 6. So they're going to take some home tonight? Yeah, all of you can take some home tonight. And aloe vera, Christian, you had some experience with that as well.
So I have 2 scars because of disobedience. One that I can cover with my pant, another I cannot cover because it's on my face. But I disobeyed my parents and got cut by a metal ceiling fan when I was a little boy, and the cut came here, and I believe my guardian angel pushed me before the fan went through the middle of my eye. And the wound here, my mom really didn't know how to help it to heal after the cut and after the stitches. But somebody told her, try putting an aloe vera poultice. Aloe vera has healing properties for wound healing. And Mom was like, really? So she decided right after the cut to put that aloe vera there. 2 days later, the doctor comes to check the wound, and he's like, this boy has miraculously just healing in his skin. I've never seen a wound heal so quickly. What are you doing, ma'am? And my mom just smiled, didn't want to tell the doctor, I'm trying aloe vera. But yeah, aloe vera helped my wound heal beautifully. In just a short time, the skin was coming together and healing. So for burns, for cuts, whenever you cut, you can use that aloe vera. I also had heartburn, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux, for a long time, and aloe vera was one of the key things that help heal and soothe that esophageal reflux. So I would just take with a spoon the gel and chew it, and it's very slimy, swallow it, and that started healing my reflux. I was not able to swallow my food. I would eat and start choking because of the acid reflux. And aloe vera every day, taking it before the meals, chewing a little piece of that gel, started healing. And I'm basically reflux or heartburn free now. So these things are very, very effective.
Well, if you just bite into an aloe vera, it tastes pretty horrible. So one thing you can do is to take the gel out and try not to take the yellow part out. The yellow part is the part that's bitter. And then soak it in water for a while. And then in a blender, you could put the aloe vera gel and put a little bit of lemon, maybe even honey and some water in, and you get this nice drink. So that's something you can try. So Ms. Raluca, would you like to share with us a way we can, what if we combine everything together and make something out of this? Or maybe combine even more things. Okay.
Vitamin C. Very helpful. Just while Raluca's setting that up, I wanted to tell you that the other day, Glennie put some stuff in a blender for me that included ginger, honey, turmeric, cayenne, and I couldn't believe it. The allergy I was experiencing just vanished. So I don't know what inspired you to do that, but it worked. And the also thing I wanted to mention is that with turmeric, I've been taking that regularly for a while, and the pain that I sometimes get in my tummy has completely vanished. So it's amazing to me. And Dr. Michael Greger, tells us it does help with rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. So some of these simple remedies have just amazing impact.
If you want some other uses for lemon, it works as a gel. You put lemon on your hair and it leaves it hard. So that's one, for a long time instead of gel I use lemon, natural product, literally. It leaves the hair just like gel, hard, a little bit of juice of lemon. Another use when you have eye infection, the start of a sty. I was having the pain and I could feel the sty. It's so painful. You feel like you're giving birth, but it's okay. You just go and put a drop, and then you just kick and scream and cry for a few moments, but it stopped that sty completely. So very effective for eye infections, but you need some guts to pour that drop. Other uses, even though it's very, very acid and you feel it would burn, when you have heartburn, a tablespoon, it actually neutralizes the pH in your stomach. So many times that I've had heartburn, just take a full teaspoon of lemon, and after a few minutes, I don't feel the heartburn anymore. So very, very wonderful. Also, it helps the iron in greens to be better absorbed by the body when you add lemon to your greens. So lemon is one of my favorite fruits, as you can see. I'm just excited about lemon. So our Luca is going to show us now how to include many of these ingredients and do a super drink. What is it called, Luca?
Okay, so you didn't know you're going to have a little cooking demonstration, did you? Okay, so in your little handout, there is a V12 Blast. Now, this is not a smoothie. This is medicine, okay? And the reason I'm saying that is because if you put it in the blender, people think it's going to be tasting amazing, right? And so when I have guests and we make this for breakfast, I prepare them. I said, I'm going to give you medicine this morning. I'm not going to give you a smoothie. That will be later for dessert. I'm going to give you medicine. And the reason is because Glennie and Christian and everyone here talked about this amazing power of, the turmeric. Where did it go? Okay, I guess we're going to have to show you. Let me show you. Oh, yeah, let me have that. Here we go. If you go to Publix, you can find this raw. How much better? Yes, it's good to have your pills, and it's good to have the powder. But if you want the most potent curcumin or turmeric, you've got to have the real thing, which is the root, the turmeric root. And this is available at Publix, and I have it here ready for you right here. The recipe also says to put lemon, the frozen lemon. Dr. Greger is a big promoter. What he does, he takes the lemon, he blends it, he puts it in ice cubes, and he freezes it. And so for all his cooking in his cookbook called How Not to Die, which is an amazing cookbook, he uses a lot of turmeric. That's a funny name, right? How Not to Die. He uses this kind of lemon because he believes that the skin of the lemon is very potent. When we take the skin off, it's not as potent. So he blends it, puts it in ice cubes and ice cube holders, and puts it in his freezer, okay? Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't always do it, so I just take a lemon, I cut it in half, and I put the whole thing in here with the other ingredients. So I'm going to demonstrate this to you very quickly here. So you can hold that. Yes. Yep, I sure do, yes. So what's the first ingredient? Is spinach, right? So I'm going to put the spinach in here, and you'll get to taste, those of you who are courageous enough. As I said, this is not a smoothie. This is medicine. That's right, all in one pot, right? So the spinach, and then I put all these apples, and I may add some later, and the pepper, and the tomatoes, just all in here. Yeah, the garlic, the whole thing, the whole clove of garlic, and I actually add a little bit of, whoopsie daisy. Let me wash it. Red onion, we're in a kind of like in a roll here to get it going, and this blender will not fit it all, so I'm going to have to split it. This is celery ribs. I put 2 of them in there, and then ice.
I'm excited to see how this is gonna taste like. Are you? Yes, you too. Okay, I see a few hands.
So this blender is not as big as the one I have at home, okay? Now, if you want to add a little spice, you can just put jalapeno pepper in here as well. And about half a cup of ice per recipe, and then you just start blending it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it all the different recipes while we continue talking. It's just going to be a little noisy. All the other stuff, since it's a very good blender. It's just kind of small to start with. It's actually half the size of mine, but it has a powerful, as you can see, it has a powerful engine, right? Very powerful. It's a commercial blender, actually, that companies use for their smoothies. When you go to Planet Smoothies and all those, I don't know exactly what they have, but it's that caliber. And so apples kind of make it sweet, right? And say it again.
So do you drink this every day or what? Not every day.
Whenever I can convince my husband and my company to have it, like when Christian comes over, he knows the drill, right, Christian? That's right. Okay, so just keep putting it all in here. And a little more ice. The ice actually helps it. So here we go.
It's not bad, actually. It's actually pretty sweet and, yeah.
It's medicine. So who would like to try some medicine?
Oh, this. Oh, we'll do this, and then we'll do. You can do the second one. Yeah, good.
Where we're going to take it. And maybe as Raluca is serving that, if you are like me, lazy bachelor that doesn't like to cook the least as possible, there's a wellness formula. This here that we have is called Wellness Formula. It's the 15th time winner top immune booster. Let's wait until. Which one? This one? That one has many of the ingredients that Glennie explained the benefits in one. So it's an immune booster, you know, reducing inflammation. So this you can get in Amazon, and listen, my sister was having a cough trying to do everything possible to get rid of it, and she couldn't. She tried all type of natural treatments and things for cough. It wasn't getting better. And somebody told her, have you heard of the wellness formula? She's like, no, I never heard it. She got this after a couple days. Her cough started reducing. So whenever I feel symptoms, and it has, when you look, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, selenium, copper, sodium, garlic bulb, propolis extract, echinacea, elderberry, like 20-something immune-boosting supplements in one, so you don't need to be doing those ugly faces after drinking that. So if you like a shortcut to... So this is what I take when I travel. And whenever I feel any like something in my throat that I'm getting sick, the wellness formula has been a lifesaver, really. Yes. Good memory, good memory. What is it? There is a supplement. It's not coming to my mind now that helps. Ginkgo Biloba, yes. It's something that has, there's some studies that have shown that helps with reducing memory loss. And
Okay, go ahead.
no, one more that I was going to share is zinc. This is called Terra Zinc. It's a throat. You're going to see me many times before going up and singing, or anytime I feel like I'm getting a throat ache, zinc kills virus on contact. So this is a throat spray that you can spray whenever you're getting throat ache, Terra Zinc. These two things, yes, you buy them, but are very effective for your immune system.
Okay, so what did you think about the medicine? If you know what, if you had to think about if you had to taste your medicine that you take, how would that taste? So it's better than that, right? And so that's what I get used to it, and I actually crave it. Have you ever eaten something healthy and then you crave it? Yes? Oh, you want more? Oh, good. All right. Okay, now, yes. Yes. At home, I just do one recipe, or half. Do half for just you. So I try to do it as much as I can. I used to do it every day, but then I got really busy. But when my life is normal, I try to do it at least 2-3 times a week, maybe every day. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you like. You can take it all if you want. I think I would drink it right away. Okay. Shh. Okay. She had a question. How long does it stay fresh? I don't like it unless it's fresh. It gets kind of thick and kind of yucky. So just make enough if you need to break the recipe in half or a quarter. But this is an immune booster. What did she talk about, the kitchen remedies? Put them all in a blender and drink it every day, and it's easy to digest. Now, there is another recipe, and there's garlic, fresh garlic. What is it called? Do you want to boost your immune system? Have you ever felt like you're getting sick? Like your body feels tired and you kind of want to just sleep? Yeah? Okay. So if you have that, you take 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. Everybody's getting excited. This is not supper. It's just a little medicine, right? So the garlic is in here. So I take it and I squeeze it. And then I put the honey and the cayenne pepper. And I mix it all together. And that's what I take. And you can take whatever you can handle it. Whatever you can handle. So you have the honey, the garlic, and the cayenne pepper. That's in your recipe. And my daughter Sarah is the one that is a specialist at this. And then you mix it, and it makes the garlic more doable. So you feel like you're getting sick, you have the honey, the garlic, and the cayenne pepper right here, and you just take a little bit of it. If your stomach is sensitive, you don't want to take too much, but take that right before a meal, and just get that garlic in. That garlic has amazing potent abilities. Okay?
You know, that's a great idea, because I read how if you heat garlic up, it destroys the properties that we need. So I was wondering, do you just pop garlic in? So this kind of makes it edible. So we're going to get into the last session. You know, there's just so much information there, but I'm glad that you all have your handouts you can refer to. And there's just so many books available. You can browse over it after the program's over. But we're going to our last session, and we'll talk a little bit about hydrotherapy.
We're going to be covering that now. So back in 1994, my mom had me. Everything was going well as long as she was breastfeeding me. But she came to the point of stopping breastfeeding, and all of a sudden, I developed this bronchitis. And they said, no, not a problem. Let's take him to the doctor. Doctors recommended, guess what? Antibiotics. Antibiotics, do you think they helped? They didn't seem to help. My parents started seeing that I'm deteriorating and I'm losing my appetite, and they're like, this is getting serious. They needed to take me to the ER because I couldn't breathe. Guess what the doctors gave more of? More stronger antibiotics. And this was spiraling out of control until they're like, we are losing our boy. What do we do? So my dad went to Loma Linda, and Dr. Thomas, he was the last doctor to train hydrotherapy to the nurses of Loma Linda, a doctor from India. He would wear his turban, and he was the guru of hydrotherapy. He trained Dina. Dina studied nursing, and she received training under Dr. Thomas. And he trained my dad and said, listen, if you want your son to survive and live, quit all dairy product. Start by that. Dairy is made to grow a little calf in 1 year to full adulthood. The formula is not made for humans, and a lot of mucus is produced by dairy in a lot of kids. Number 2, hydrotherapy. His lungs need some assistance. So you're going to do hot fermentation. We're going to show you how to do that. You're going to do Russian steam bath, or like a sauna, like a home sauna with plastic and steam underneath. And you're going to do steam inhalation, breathe with a towel. And you're going to use a natural antibiotic, the one I told you about, onion and garlic, and you're going to see how your boy gets better. So my dad goes back home, says, honey, to my mom, we need to quit dairy. My mom, quit what? How am I going to cook? How am I going to put things together? Do you have a cookbook for me? He's like, I don't, but the boy's dying, so why don't we try it? And my mom is like, I guess, okay, but... So she went like a mad scientist to the kitchen to try to see how to make food without any egg, milk, or any dairy. But they said, okay, let's do it for the boy. Let's do it all together instead of doing a dish ourselves, and let's see what happens. It was few days after they did all these changes, hydrotherapy, nutrition, and also the natural antibiotic, that I started getting better and better. My mom had chronic asthma since childhood, really affected her. And because of changing the diet to save me, all of a sudden she stopped having asthma attacks. So that's why the whole family, and that's why I'm so convinced and excited about this, because I know I probably would not be standing here with you today were it not for the power of these natural agencies that God has put in hydrotherapy and natural treatments. So a little bit of history, hydrotherapy. It shows that it has been used by Greeks, by people in Egypt as well, by Turks, and the oldest, history reference of hydrotherapy, guess what country used? India. India is like ahead in so many things, right? India was one of the, 3,000 years ago, there's still reference of hydrotherapy being used in India. And what is hydrotherapy? Hydrotherapy, to the question we had here, is it hot or cold? It's both, depending the condition. So basically hot on the skin dilates blood vessels and brings blood to the surface. So when you put it hot, that's why it gets red, because the blood is dilating the blood vessels. Why? The body's trying to get that heat out. So it's bringing the blood and trying to make you sweat and dilating the blood vessels and opening the pores so that you sweat and can reduce that heat. Cold does the opposite, constricts the blood vessels and sends the blood inside to preserve that heat. So that's why when we chill, it's all the pores going closed and all the blood going internally. If you chill for too long, you can get a cold, or you can get other types of throat ache or a cold or a cough. So hydrotherapy is basically like a passive exercise for the blood vessels, and they've discovered that when you end a hot treatment with cold, more white blood cell count in your blood is found, so more white blood cells that fight against infections and disease. So I end all my showers with cold water. And it's just a few seconds, 30 seconds, you can do it. Rub, and that increase, I almost haven't gotten sick for a very long time since I've started doing this. You brave it, you scream the first time, whatever, you shout. I had a friend that we would learn hydrotherapy together, and when cold would come, he would scream, and I'm like, sing, brother, sing and rub. And he's like, what should I sing? I'm like, sing this song, Showers of Blessing. Showers! And he just had a blast, Well, I had seen him scream, but he didn't. But anyway, so again, what does hydrotherapy help? Increase circulation, increase white blood cell count, reduce inflammation, and in the studies from Finland and Estonia, they show that even reduce the common cold when they do this contrast of sauna and then ending with cold. And I would like just to read the conclusion of the study, Hydrotherapy in Prevention and Treatment of Mild to Moderate Cases of COVID-19. It says, this report highlights the effectiveness of inactivating the coronavirus by what? By heat, ideally followed by cold to stimulate what? The immune response, more of those white blood cells. This is again from the National Institute of Health.gov. And it says, cold to, cold to stimulate the immune response. The emphasis is not on the method, but on the fact that heat may inactivate the what? The virus. The reality is that any method to heat the body is better than none, and readily accessible method for a larger portion of the population is more effective than the best method that is accessible to relatively few. Isn't that interesting from the National Institute of Health that they're saying hydrotherapy, and it continues saying, following the model of Finland and Estonia of regular heat treatments followed by cold, we propose the regular use of home what? Hydrothermotherapy as the means of hot and cold treatment of choice during this pandemic. It is a home heat treatment method that uses tools typically available where? In the home. Water, a means for heating water, a large kettle with lid for steam, towels, a container for foot bath, and a chair or stool. A hot shower followed by a cold shower could potentially have some of those benefits. These home tools are accessible to how many? Most people. Isn't this amazing? So we're going to now see some of those treatments, and Glennie will be showing us the first of these treatments, the fun contrast shower. Tell us about it, Glennie.
The contrast shower. How many of you have showers at home? Showers? Like the thing where water comes out? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sure it's very accessible. So a contrast shower, you can see that in your, we have the handouts for this. It's basically alternating between heat and cold. The benefits of contrast showers is that it boosts circulation, increases the circulating white blood cells, and may help with preventing muscle soreness after vigorous exercise. And another thing, it's a great pick-me-up in the morning. So if you're just waking up and feel super tired, just have a contrast shower that you will be like flying to the moon. But there are some cautions and contraindications you'll have to follow. So in case you have like really low blood pressure, maybe it wouldn't be such a great idea to take a contrast shower. You might fall and slip in case something happens. Or individuals who have hepatitis, multiple sclerosis, seizure disorders, and other blood vessel disorders, even kidney disease, should not generally have contrast showers. So you could talk with your primary care physician if you would need more information. So how do you do contrast showers? Super simple. 3 minutes of hot, like warm hot showers, followed by 30 seconds of cold. Repeat that 3 times. End with cold. End with cold for 1 minute. And then dry yourself really well. So what does that mean? 3 minutes of warm, 30 seconds of cold. So it's like warm, super nice, and then cold. And then warm, really nice,
cold, 30 seconds. Then warm really nice for 3 minutes, and then cold for 1 minute. And then make sure that you dry yourself really well.
And the way that it helps tolerate is just doing friction. While you're doing cold, quickly friction all over your body. You don't want to just stand. It will be quite a torture. But if you really do fast friction, like a friend I was with this last 3 weeks up in North Carolina, he says he knows when his wife is finishing his shower with cold, because he feels, and he's like, okay, she's finishing her shower. You know, she's just dancing in the air with the cold water. So it'll be intensive, but you've done it, Glennie, in the class we had in Heartland. And remember how, I mean, just the skin is like all glowing.
Turns red in the end, super nice. Another practical tip you could follow is that if you're having some sinus infection, try to focus the water in this area. If you have some, sore, if you have some pain in any specific area, try to focus the water in that specific area.
But let's say people just don't have the energy or time to do the contrast shower. What I recommend just finishing, you saw the study, it says not so much the method, but getting the body under heat and finishing with cold. So you don't have time to do the contrast shower. If you can include it, I encourage you, try and see if you can include in every shower finishing with cold, you will see the benefit of boosting your immune system. Also, it vitalizes the nerves, so it really boosts. Even in Weimar, they use it a lot for patients with depression. They use cold treatment to the body to stimulate the nerves. So it'll even give you that pick-me-up that Glennie is saying, rather than a super hot shower that you come sometimes more heavier than when you started the shower, ready to sleep. That cold will energize your day.
Yeah. So Christian, tell us more about hot fermentations. How is that used?
So hot fermentations, there's complex ways of doing it, but if you can help me, Glennie, get the towel and just demonstrate. There's one way that we've done it at home that is the simplest way. That is with a hot water bottle. How many of you have ever seen a hot water bottle? You get it in a pharmacy, you can get it at Walmart, anywhere, Amazon. And this is the simplest way of doing fermentation. This is what my mom used when I had bronchitis. This is what I used this year? This year. This year in February when I got COVID-19. It hit me quite strong, and I was seeing people all around me on the campus. I was in Virginia, getting it strong, and people that were not doing anything, their oxygen was dropping. And I said, I have nobody to treat me, but I learned at home. My mom taught me how to do a treatment that I can do myself. So how do you do it? You basically get some boiling water. You can get one of those boiling kettles. I like to have those, are the best for hydrotherapy, the ones that you just plug, very convenient. But if not, you just boil some water. You fill the hot water bottle with it, and be careful not to burn yourself when you're filling it. You can bend it like this to get the oxygen out, because if not the air out. And then you close it, and once you close it, don't put too much water or it'll be too round, and then it won't have that much surface touching. The whole thing will be bulging. So just enough that it's kind of flat, and then you put it on a towel, hand towel this size, and then you can get a wet handkerchief, because humidity allows the heat to penetrate deeper. You know that when you get a steam, it burns more than just dry heat. Steam always, and humid heat goes deeper. So you just get a handkerchief, you make it damp, put it on the side that you'll put it on your body, and you can fold in two at the beginning so that it doesn't burn, and just apply it directly on the skin while you're laying down. This I did every day while I had COVID-19. So apply it there. If it burns, you just put the hand underneath. After a few minutes, it might start burning. Raise it a little bit, let the air, then we'll put it down again. Sarah also had a cough for like 2 weeks. She was trying all types of supplements and contrast shower. This is localized hydrotherapy for lung conditions. So sometimes you need to get more localized when you're getting cough, lung infection. She did a fermentation, Sarah did. That same night, she was able, after like 2 weeks of coughing, to sleep better, and after a few days, she was better. And I told her about this treatment. It's simple. You can do it yourself. So I would do this. You have it raise it, let it down, lay it on your chest, and that heat, remember, is causing fever, localized kind of fever, increasing the temperature. And what did the study from the National Institute of Health said? That heat does what with the virus? Destroys, kills, weakens virus. So then you can have it, it'll last the heat for about 12 to 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. You can do at the middle of that time, so after 7 minutes, you can have a little basin with ice and water, and this will feel so good, you know? You have the cold, strain it, put the fomentation on the side of the bed. If you're by yourself, if you have the blessing of somebody helping you, great. But I was alone with COVID-19, and I didn't want it to get worse in my lungs. So then you do friction and dry with a towel, dry. Get again cold, friction and dry, and 3 times you can do friction and dry, and put the fomentation again for other 5 to 7 minutes. Once the heat, you don't feel it more hot, you can remove it and finish again with 3 applications of cold friction, and your chest will be red. So this is something that I did every day during COVID-19. I got a very slight cough, but it didn't go more than that when others were having very bad cough on campus, but I just did it myself. So this is a treatment, very easy. We have this at home, a hot water bottle for any moment that we get a cough. You can do it yourself. You don't need even somebody else to help you as long as you have this. So again, a hot water bottle, a handkerchief, a hand towel, and a little basin with ice, cold water, and a towel to dry. And at the end, you can apply some Vicks to the chest and rest. Always after a hydrotherapy treatment, you want to take time to rest. Drink water, hydrate yourself, and rest. Thank God, no complication from COVID-19. And we'll have another treatment that later Raluca will show us that I was doing together with this, that is the steam inhalation that I did every day as well, and thank God, no complication. So, yes.
How often did you have to do that during the day?
I just would do it once a day before going to sleep. Yeah, once a day. I was very weak. I could barely walk to the bathroom, so I didn't do the contrast shower. That would have been too intense. I wasn't feeling up for it. But this was a milder. I could do it while laying on my bed, so that helped me. So, yes.
Did you have an appetite for eating when you had it, or no?
I did have appetite for eating. Not that great as before. My taste went away, or the smelling, so I couldn't, everything seemed like eating cardboard, but I still had a little bit of appetite, even though everything seemed disgusting, just like no taste. Another question back there, yes?
Can you substitute a hot water bottle? Can you substitute a heating pad
Yes.
for the hot water bottle if you didn't want it?
Yes, Glennie, do you want to tell us other methods of doing fermentation, all the microwave, or we had a question, the heating pad?
Oh, yeah.
Can you substitute? So do you want to tell us other?
So you could definitely use a heating pad. If you're using a heating pad, you could get something called a thermophore, which has moist heat coming from it. The Battle Creek thermophore, that's something you can get on Amazon online. Another thing you can do is, for example, you can take a towel, just put it in water, really wring it really well, and then I'm just going to show, wring it really well, and then you could maybe just roll it, and then take a plastic bag or something and put this in a plastic bag and put it in a microwave for about a minute or 2. And then take it out. Be careful because it's like really hot, and you could use that on your chest. But the thing is that this method, if you use this method, the heat would dissipate really quickly. But using a hot water bag or even a thermophore or a heating pad, the heat would stay for a longer time. But this works. I remember actually in the Philippines a few years ago, we were in the middle of nowhere, and a friend of mine was like really sick. And they didn't even have stoves with fire. We had to make a fire, and they didn't have microwaves, nothing at all. So it was just a pot of boiling water, and I'm trying to, make the towel really warm, and I was like wringing it and put it on the chest, and it worked. The next day, he was just fine. So.
Yeah, the same. I was up in the Philippines in the mountains, in some jungles up there, had no electricity generators, and I thought I had tuberculosis. It was, my lungs and a cough and going hoarse, and I did the steam inhalation that Raluca will be showing us. So these things, like the study said, it's not so much about the method. To your question, can you use a pad, but applying heat, finishing with cold. The thing of humid heat, it will penetrate much deeper. It's a more penetrating heat. So if you can do it with something that has that humidity, it'll be more effective than dry heat to go deeper, but it's not needed. It's just applying the cold and the hot and the cold.
I would just like to make one quick comment. Nature's way of trying to get rid of infections is that fever that goes up. And we tend to think, oh, I've got a fever, better take a Tylenol. No. Unless it gets really high, it's better to let that fever run its course, because that's your body trying to generate the heat to get rid of that infection. So when you knock it out, you're not really doing yourself a favor. Now, if it goes up high, you're feeling really miserable, that's another thing. But at least with COVID-19 and many other, actually all fevers, don't try to knock them out the moment they show up. Let them do their work, and if it gets out of control, then yes, but otherwise, that's nature's natural way.
Thank you so much, Dina. And on that perspective, if you guys, have you enjoyed the treatment so far and the things you're learning, yeah? Well, maybe you can ask this church to have another session in the future, because there's a ton of hydrotherapy treatments. There's some that, like the Russian steam bath or the fever treatment, that's a more delicate one, but other treatments that do artificial fever to be able to fight those virus or bacteria. But now Raluca is going to show us how to do the steam inhalation.
Okay, great. Now, one way to do it is to actually buy a steamer from your local, Walgreens or Walmart, and you can just sit here and breathe in steam. But I kind of like the old-fashioned way, and so right now I have water boiling here on the stove, and do you see it boiling? Do you see the steam is going up? And I'm just going to show you here. So I just put this on, and then I put eucalyptus oil that you can get even on Amazon now. I just put about 10 drops, and this is what I did for my family during COVID. I had them doing this many times a day, as soon as I could remember, the water bottle and the fermentations. So I kind of just put my head in here, and the towel, kind of like this. Yeah, that was a lot. I was like, that's a lot of play peekaboo with you, right? So you just sit there and you breathe in, and actually I had my children liked it just like this, but my husband liked to actually sit on the stove. We have a little outdoor burner, and he sat there and breathed in, and when he got COVID, it basically, my husband, anytime he gets a cold, it goes right to his lungs, and I was so scared for him. And so the moment I saw he was feeling sick, and he coughed over me all night, the first night, next morning, I started very heavy on all the stuff that Christian talked about, anything to do with food, and all these treatments, and contrast showers, and drinking lots of water so your body can get rid of those viruses. And they were only barely sick for a couple of days. So I am very grateful for these natural remedies. You don't have to have a treatment. You don't have to go to the hospital. And I was very concerned because he's always like that. So does that make sense? Is that pretty simple? You just sit here, and the key is eucalyptus oil, 100% pure. And we have some more essential oils in here, but we have found that eucalyptus is the best one for the nasal system as well. So, all right.
Like that, it just clears out your sinuses. For me, the easiest way is to boil the water, put the stopper in my bathroom sink, fill the bathroom sink, and put the eucalyptus in, stick my head under that big towel, and it's just right there in the sink. So there's different ways of doing it. If you like that way, that's another way.
And how about time? How long can you do it? Well, if you just boil it over the stove, it's as long as you have steam, as long as you want. But if you take it out of the stove, you have the steam maybe, 5 minutes, 5, 10, not much. So one way that I did it was with one of the tea kettle boilers, water boilers, that has the kind of thing that you can reduce the heat. That's what I used during COVID. I just would put the towel on top of that, would add some drops in it, and I didn't need to go to the kitchen, and you can plug it anywhere and just be there. So that's something I used that was very effective. Oh, well, there's a bunch of things here that we might not have time now to share about everything, but one plant that my sister has been receiving a bunch of testimonies for broken bones, for torn muscles, for fractures, for wounds, for skin condition. It's a plant called Comfrey. Comfrey. You can go to Amazon, any salve, this one is called Trauma Plant, but any salve made out of comfrey. My sister that is selling, actually, she's making some and selling. She's receiving the most amazing testimony. A pastor broke his ribs, and they were using comfrey on him, and in a few days he was having a reduction of pain. My mom as well, yes. But any comfrey salve, if you want to, yeah, you're welcome. Somebody else in the back wanted to. But before we close, any questions? Do we have? Okay, sounds good. How many of you have been blessed with learning some new practical remedies? Did you enjoy this class? Would you like another one of more treatments? Yes, all right. So.
She wants to show light therapy.
We have a bonus exciting treatment, bonus point
Light box.
for all of you by
Yes,
Dina.
Silas, could you pass these out real quickly to people? We didn't quite have the activated charcoal handout ready for you, but it's